Most people know Mr. T for shaking the world in the movie Rocky 3 and being the super strong guy on the TV show The A-Team. But the two jobs that made him a superstar also hurt his feelings a lot. Behind those famous make-believe fight scenes were real arguments with six actors who made every filming set feel like a war zone. Now that he is 73, he is finally telling his story. Those actors said his roles were wrong, made fun of how good he was, and were so mean that TV companies said they would never hire them to work together again. And when you hear the names of these six people, you won't believe the huge Hollywood stars who were causing those fights. The Stallone drama. Sylvester Stallone was the first problem, and their fight started before they ever made Rocky 3. Stallone is at the top of Mr. T's don't like list for one nasty reason. Their first time meeting ended with Stallone feeling really embarrassed and Mr. T feeling like he was being treated badly, and they never got over it. The security guard for the boxer Leon Spinks said that night that Mr. T didn't just stop Stallone from going into the changing room in 1978. He stared hard at Stallone and said, "You are not on the list, move back." Stallone's face turned red, and Mr. T answered super loud so everyone in the hallway could hear, "I don't know you." That line felt like a sharp poke, and things only got worse after that. When Stallone later picked Mr. T for Rocky 3, people thought they had become friends. They were wrong. During the filming, Stallone had quietly told people, "He embarrassed me once. He won't do it again." That sneaky comment set the bad mood for the whole movie. From that time on, it was impossible to hide how angry they were. The first big fight happened during practice for a scene in late 1981. Stallone tried to tell Mr. T how to punch, and Mr. T shouted back, "Clubber Lang isn't soft, don't make me look soft." Stallone took off his boxing gloves and walked away from the set. A week later, the second big fight happened. Stallone wanted to film the scene again because he thought Mr. T was too big and powerful for the movie camera. Mr. T yelled back in front of everyone, "People cheer for me because I'm real. Don't try to cut me down." Stallone froze because that phrase, "cut me down," was exactly what Stallone had secretly complained about the day before. The real feeling of hating each other exploded later when they talked to news reporters. Reporters didn't care about Stallone's smart explanations and kept asking Mr. T to say his famous lines. Stallone was so obviously annoyed that one newspaper writer whispered later, "I could feel jealousy dripping off him." By the end, both men knew they could never fix things. By the time the movie was finished, they were done. No friendly handshake, no photo on the last day. They stayed away from each other for many years, and Mr. T never talked about Stallone without making it sound like he had a problem letting other people shine. The Weathers conflict. Carl Weathers was the man who made Mr. T the angriest on set. Carl Weathers got on Mr. T's don't like list the second he told people secretly that Mr. T didn't know how to box the right way. That one thing he said during the early Rocky 3 practice sessions started a fire in Mr. T that never went out. Weathers was a real athlete and walked into practice expecting respect. But the bad feelings exploded on the first day. While watching Mr. T practice, Weathers shook his head and told the boxing coach he needs to train like a real fighter. This street style won't work on screen. Mr. T heard it and the room got quiet and cold. Mr. T walked right up to Weathers later and said, "You think I need lessons to look dangerous?" Weathers didn't back down, he snapped back, "This is filmmaking, it needs technique." From that moment, every practice felt like a quiet boxing match. Neither man was wearing gloves, but both were trying to win. The worst fight happened during a big scene practice. Weathers insisted Mr. T follow the exact steps Stallone had approved. Mr. T kept changing the beat because, as he put it, "Clubber doesn't dance around like Apollo." Weathers got mad and yelled across the ring, "You're going to ruin the timing." Mr. T stepped closer and growled, "Timing ain't going to save you if you get hit for real." The movie's safety team immediately stopped the practice. Things only got worse. Weathers complained to Stallone that Mr. T was acting wild, and Mr. T told people that Weathers was soft and scared of real power. They avoided looking at each other on set, barely spoke between filming, and refused to do interviews together for the press. Years later, neither man ever said sorry in public or said they had made up. Mr. T simply said once, "Some men don't like real strength unless it's theirs." The Peppard power struggle. George Peppard, the older actor, couldn't stand seeing Mr. T become the big star. The moment George Peppard found out Mr. T was being paid more money than him, the hatred started right away. Peppard had been a star in Hollywood for many years, was in classic movies, worked with the famous Audrey Hepburn, and was known as a serious actor. And one morning, he learned a former bodyguard who had never been to acting school was now the most important person on the A-team. Peppard felt this was a huge insult carved in stone. The first bad signs showed up when they read the script together. Peppard would turn his script pages harder whenever Mr. T said a line that the writers clearly made funny for B.A. Baracus. Peppard looked at him and quietly said, "This show was supposed to be mine." From there, the angry feeling only got sharper. Peppard made things worse when he gave an interview saying Mr. T was just TV muscle, not an actor, and saying the show was becoming like a circus. Mr. T got his hands on that magazine in less than an hour. He marched through the lot like a storm, walking right towards Peppard's private trailer. What happened next became the most often told story in A-Team history. Mr. T stood outside Peppard's door and shouted the bad quotes word for word, every insult, every mean comment, so the whole crew could hear. Then he yelled, "Say it to my face, George." Peppard stayed locked inside, not a single noise, not a single word, just silence. From that day forward, they stopped pretending to be nice. They filmed scenes with empty eyes, walked different paths to avoid running into each other, and refused to practice together unless a director physically made them. The Caan criticism. James Caan, the actor who doubted Mr. T's talent. James Caan landed on Mr. T's "don't like" list the very day he told people on set that Mr. T wasn't doing real acting. That one sentence was enough to make the air in the room get very cold. Caan came from the old ways of acting. He used method acting, studied characters deeply, and spent hours getting ready. Mr. T acted from his feelings, his toughness, and his natural way of being. And to Caan, that meant he wasn't trained. Their first fight happened during the script reading. Caan stopped in the middle of a scene, looked straight at Mr. T and said, "You don't build a character, you just play yourself." The room froze still. Mr. T didn't even blink before answering, "People watch me because I'm real. You don't need a textbook to feel truth." From that moment on, every practice was a fight. Caan insisted they talk about why their characters did things. Mr. T insisted they just get on with it. Two completely different worlds trying to share one movie screen and failing badly. The real blow-up came during a very serious, dramatic scene. Caan stayed in character between filming, walking around the room, whispering his lines, breathing like the scene was life or death. Mr. T watched him for a minute before saying loud enough for the crew to hear, "You act crazy off camera so people think you're special." Caan quickly turned around and shot back, "This is the craft. You wouldn't understand the craft." For the rest of the filming, they barely talked. They filmed their scenes perfectly but with zero trust. No looking at each other, no hanging out, no respect. And when the job ended, they walked away in opposite directions seriously. Years later, Mr. T was asked which actor annoyed him the most. He didn't say the name, but he answered, "The one who thinks acting makes him better than people." The Benedict Backstage Battle. Dirk Benedict, the co-star Mr. T, accused of being too busy looking out for his own fame. Dirk Benedict earned his place on Mr. T's Don't Like list the moment Mr. T thought he was secretly fighting for more screen time behind the scenes. Benedict didn't like to fight face to face, and that made the bad feelings even sharper. The moment everything changed was during a Season 2 script meeting when Benedict asked for extra things for his character to do. Mr. T heard it and grumbled, "Here we go, somebody wants more minutes." Benedict truly wanted his character to have more depth. He had spent years making the nice but sneaky character Face, and he believed the character deserved a real emotional journey. But the problem was simple. Every minute Benedict gained meant one less minute for B.A. Baracus, and Mr. T didn't like losing ground. Their first real fight happened during the filming of an episode with a lot of talking. Benedict had added a small speech to show that Face was feeling weak. Mr. T walked into the scene, quickly looked at the changed script and said right out, "This ain't the Dirk Benedict show." Benedict didn't raise his voice. He didn't fight back. He just replied, "It's called acting T." That quiet tone made Mr. T even angrier. The silent war kept going for weeks. Benedict gave ideas to the writers, but Mr. T complained those ideas made the filming slower. And every time Benedict got a longer close-up shot, Mr. T felt the crew was starting to like Benedict more. The biggest fight happened during a scene with action. Benedict wanted to act out a subtle emotional moment before the action started. Mr. T cut him off in the middle of practice and snapped, "The audience wants action, not your soap opera moment." Benedict didn't yell. He simply walked away and told the director, "If he won't watch my work, I won't watch his." From then on, they were only nice when the camera was rolling. No jokes, no looking each other in the eye. Years later, Benedict admitted in a small interview that working with Mr. T was hard. Mr. T said nothing, and that was the end of the story. So what do you think? Was Mr. T totally right to walk away from those battles? Or were these big Hollywood stars just too proud to share the spotlight with him? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more shocking behind-the-scenes stories.